Look who finally stopped by.
Finally.
People were wondering if I kidnapped you or buried you somewhere or left you trapped somewhere in a mine.
Nope, I've been working out of town, so
So he never comes around.
I'm gone. Not even here.
Anyway, there he is.
Living
He's
in
still
a hotel.
alive. He's still alive.
I've been gone for so long that I was talking to Samantha the other day on the way home, and I sent her a video with something, and she goes, "I didn't get it." And I go, "Oh, when I get home, I'll send it to you." And she goes, "When you get home?" I go, "Well, to the hotel." That's how long I've been gone.
That's sad. Very sad.
Yeah.
Well, good morning. Today is Friday, March 1st, a new day of the year, new day of the month, first day of the month. We're running late. You know what? When you only live 5 minutes from your therapy thing, you think you got more time than you really do. And so I am going to just get there just on time. And I don't like doing that. I like getting there a little bit early. As you can see, I let you a clear clip of Jimmy stop by. Jimmy's working on the other side of the state in Kalamazoo, Michigan. I'm on this side of the state. He's on this side of the state. So he's got there another month. He'll be there another month. So, but anyway, we have birthdays today. Well, we have one birthday. Today is Jess over at Journey to Healthy and Happy. Today's Jess's birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jess. Happy birthday to you. Cha-cha-cha. Well, I hope you have a great birthday because you're the only one that told me it was your birthday today. Got to check I haven't done my comments yet. I haven't answered my comments yet. So sometimes people tell me on the day of their birthday. So I want to check and do that. But if I missed anybody, I will sing to them before the video is over. But it's also my pal, Jerry and Terry Weeks' 44th anniversary. They live on the other side of the state, too. They live closer to where Jimmy's working. But today is Terry and Jerry's 44th anniversary. Happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary. Happy, 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 happy anniversary. Happy, 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 happy anniversary. Well, I hope you have a great, great anniversary. It's also the anniversary of my mother's passing. My mother passed in 2001. No, 2008. 2008. So it's been, 16 years since my mom's gone. Here's a picture of my mom. Oh, how I miss my mom. When I come out of therapy, I'll try to think of a story I can tell you while I'm in therapy of my mom. I've got so many great stories of my mom. I really do. It's just, I could go on and on and on. If I'm only this much of a mom, and even this much of a grandma like my mom was, I'll be doing really well. I really will. She was like the best mom in the world, and she was the best grandma. She really was. Like I've told you before that I never really knew my grandparents. My grandmother, when I was born, I don't know, I was like the 57th or 72nd, something like I was like way at the bottom. My mother had 8 older brothers and sisters that all had an average of at least 5 kids, which 2 of them had 10 kids. So there was a lot. And my mother was the second from the youngest. My Aunt Shirley died very early. She died when she was 29 of blood and bone cancer. And she left 5 kids. So, needless to say, my grandma couldn't be bothered with us by the time we came along. She would look at us through the door and say, "Stay outside. You don't need to come in. I need a drink of water. Get some water from the house." She didn't love kids either. My mother said she wasn't a really good mother. So, I don't know. It's maybe because she had too many kids. I don't know. And then my other grandma lived in Boston. So I very rarely got to see her. Did get to see her once in a while, but not very often. I could have parked right there, made my own spot, but I'm not going to do that. I'll pull over here. It's still just as close. Anyway, so I'm actually right on time, which I don't like being right on time. I like to be a little bit early. So I will talk to you when I get out. And just like that, we're finished again. I've increased my exercise repetitions, and I've moved to I do a lot of the band exercises, so they've moved to the next, more, I don't know, more tension kind of a band. Sometimes I kind of wonder why I'm coming, because other than the massage at the beginning, I'm pretty much doing all the exercises myself, which I have been doing at home too, but I just feel like I'm my own physical therapist after I get the massage, which really to me is the best part of the whole physical therapy thing. But I do notice a difference. I'm able to lift my arm a little higher without as much pain, and I'm sleeping at night really well without waking up with shoulder pain. So whatever it's doing, it's working. So anyway, as I said, I was going to share a story of my mom. My mom, when I was graduated from high school and I was going to go to college, I needed to get a part-time job. I did get a little bit of student aid, but not very much because my father, I guess, made, even though he had 5 other kids at home, we weren't at the poverty level, so we didn't qualify. So I was going to get a student loan. But my mother suggested that I get a job. Believe it or not, I hadn't really worked. I mean, I was working somewhat, but not a lot. I worked at a Perini's restaurant, which is a really nice restaurant. It's no longer open, but it was a really nice restaurant. And I worked there for 2.5 hours, and I always tell my family I have 2.5 hours of being a waitress. Well, back then they called it a waitress, not a server, because they found out I wasn't old enough to serve liquor legally. So I was done in the middle of my shift. I did get paid for the 2.5 hours, and I did get to keep my tips. But my mother had said that she wanted me to go to Chatham's, which was a grocery store by us, to get a job there because it would be close to home, and it would be, they'd work around your hours because they knew you were going to school. So when we were there, my mother said, I might as well apply too because, like I'd like to earn some extra money. And now that you're at school and everybody's older and, all the kids were in school at that point. Denise was in the 3rd grade. She says, I think I want to get out a couple hours a week. So I'm going to apply too. My mother got the job. I didn't get the job. I said, Mom, I was supposed to get the job. But my mother had worked for the longest time at A&P, which was another grocery store, as in the meat department and a little bit as a cashier. And so they hired her on the spot, not to work in the meat department, but to be as a cashier, which is what I was applying for. But I ended up about a month later. I did get a job at a little fruit market called Pollas, Pollas. It was a little fruit market that I absolutely loved. I had the best time. It was all young people working, like the shift that I worked was all young people. And then we I made a lot of good friends. But I worked there. But my mother, when I was in high school, I really liked. Jim and I were dating, but we weren't going steady or anything. But we were dating. But I really liked this one boy, Rick Saban. I really, really liked him a lot. And but he just didn't even notice me. I've been going to school with him since the 5th grade, and I figure by the time you graduate, if you haven't noticed me by now, give it up, Sandy. As charming as you think you are, Rick doesn't even notice you. And he was best friends with Richard Woodbury, who everybody called Woody, which I was absolutely. Well, we all know I was in love with Chuck Cybeck. But that Chuck Cybeck came in junior high. But Woody Woodbury and Rick Saban were my crushes all through school. Anyway, my mother started working at Chatham's, and I found out that Rick worked with my mother at Chatham's. He was a cashier too. He was going to college too, but he was going to a different college than I was. And I would always go in on the pretense of seeing my mom, but I was actually kind of like flirting with Rick. And I was trying to get my mom to put in a good word for me because I really liked Rick. Jim and I were just like, we were dating, but we were, because Jim and I started dating in the 11th grade. And, I thought, well, we both were kind of like at that point, is this who we want to be with for the rest of our life kind of thing. So I think Jim was looking. I was looking. It's just the way it goes. And then my mother got closer with him and figured out that he was a real mama's boy. And so when I was trying to get my mom to introduce me, she was saying he's too attached to his mother. Well, my mother was very attached to all of her kids and to her sons too. But for her to say that he was too over-attached, then I kind of thought, I don't know. So then I started talking with him more, and it seemed like every sentence was, well, my mom thinks I should do this, and my mom thinks I should do that. And I'm thinking, I better listen to my mom. So I did listen to my mom, and she was right, because He did end up getting married, but he ended up getting divorced 3 times. And all 3 times that I had heard of it was because his mother was meddling. So you know, listen to your mother. Your mother knows. Your mother really knows. But another thing is what I thought was kind of cute was when, not cute, but when Jim got drafted. At that point, we were getting really serious. Jim got drafted in June of '69, and we were getting serious because we had been together since January of '67. And at that point, we were trying to decide, do we want to stay with each other or do we want to just break up? And we were really at that point talking about getting serious. And then he got his draft notice. And so when he got drafted, especially with it was Vietnam and that, we both decided that we didn't want to do anything too serious. So we said that while he was away, we were both going to date other people, and then we would make our decision while he was in the service whether or not love was truly meant to be. And so I dated somebody through the summer of '69, and his name was Jim. And Jim dated somebody after his basic training, and after basic training, which I think was 12 weeks, he started going out with his friends, like on the weekends or whatever, because he couldn't get home. And he started dating somebody named Sandy. So it was easy that we never had to worry about the names getting mixed up, because if I called him Jim by mistake because of the other Jim, it was still Jim. And if he called me Sandy by mistake because it was the other Sandy, it was still Sandy. And then actually after the Valentine's Day of 1970 is we just really decided that, we had stopped dating over that. We just kind of got a little more serious. He was coming home a lot more on leave, which we talked about a little bit yesterday. And then we were able, through love letters, because we had love letters back then, not emails, actual letters that you had to wait for the mailman to come deliver. We just decided that, we really wanted to be together. And so on Valentine's Day of 1970, we got engaged, and then we got married in July of '71. And we've been together ever since. So we've been married, it'll be 53 years this year. Oh, 53 years. But we've been together 57 years. So it was meant to be. Even going through the little sidetracks of dating other people, we can say without a doubt we didn't rush into anything, obviously, and really we were meant to be together. So, all right, we are home now, as you can see in my messy garage. I have a lot of stuff in my garage, but I'm able to park both my vehicles in the garage. Most of my neighbors have their cars out in the front because they got so much crap in their garage they can't fit their vehicles in the garage. That to me is silly. That's just silly. Find a way to pack it all to the sides. The whole perimeter of my garage is packed, but room for the trucks and the car in here. So, all right, well, we have to pick a list up later on today. I'll see if Jim has any more stories that he might want to share, and then that'll be about it for now. So I'll talk to you guys soon. Okay, we're ready to start our next puzzle. It's going to be challenging, to say the least. But we've divided up the pieces. We've made a copy of the puzzle. Those we think are going to be all the end pieces, and we're starting to work on the ends. So we will keep you abreast of how we're doing. Okay, well, we're waiting for Alyssa. We're going to have Jim share another story since everybody seemed to like them yesterday. Jim doesn't believe me, but yes, they did say they'd like to hear your stories.
Well, one time I was stationed at, I forget the name of the base, but it was in Baltimore, Maryland. I was only there on loan for a couple months. Actually, I was doing a medical study. They were doing a medical study on the effects of Agent Orange, and they wanted people that were in Vietnam during Agent Orange, before Agent Orange, after it, and people that were never in Vietnam, which I fell into that category. So anyways, I got a...
But when you were in the service and you were testing it, you didn't know you were testing it for that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't think you knew.
Yeah, they were just... All I was doing was taking regular physicals, blood work, urine, whatnot. So, anyways, I gotta leave, but I didn't have any money. So a friend of mine, he said, well, just put your uniform on and hitchhike. He said, people will pick you up left and right, So, I mean, literally, I did not have a dime in my pocket. And I smoked at the time, and I only had like maybe 3/4 of a pack of cigarettes. So stupid me, I figure, yeah, what the heck, I'll go for it. You know, I'm like 19 years old, maybe 20 at tops. And he drove me out to the freeway, and I stuck my thumb out, and a state trooper picked me up, and he gave me a ride for about, I don't know, maybe like 150 miles. And he said, well, I got to turn around. So I got out, and as soon as I got out, another state trooper picked me up, and he gave me a ride for about 100 miles. So here I am now. I'm like 300 miles from nowhere, no money, and I'm on the side of the freeway, and I'm thinking, I'm screwed.
This was stupid.
I thought it was. And I probably went about maybe a half hour, 45 minutes, and finally, you know, a trucker pulled over and give me a ride. So I got a pretty good ride out of him, and then I got picked up by these two guys. They were in the Navy, and
In the Navy.
exactly why. Yeah. So anyways, they asked me where I was going, and I said, I'm going to Michigan. And they said, well, we're going to, I don't know why I never forget it, but they said they're going to Wapakoneta, Ohio. And if I'm not mistaken, that's where John Glenn was born. So they give me a ride to Wapakoneta, and they knew I didn't have any money because they stopped at a Burger King, and I just stayed in the car, and because I told them, no, I don't have any money, don't worry. And they come back, and they had bought me a burger and fries. You know, they were nice. So when they dropped me off in Wapakoneta, they asked if there's anything I need, and I said, well, if I could get a buck off of you so I could buy a pack of cigarettes, I'd really appreciate it. That's when cigarettes were a buck. So they gave me money, and I bought a pack of cigarettes. So I stuck my thumb out, walked down the ramp to the freeway, and stuck my thumb out, and a truck driver pulled me over. And he asked where I'm going, and I said, I'm going to Detroit. So I said, I'm going to Detroit, and he says, oh, I'm going to the, what do they call that down there, the market?
Oh, Eastern Market?
He's going down to Eastern Market in downtown Detroit. I said, oh man, that'd be great. So I got off from him, and I walked over to Gratiot, which wasn't too far from there. I stuck my thumb out, and two Detroit policemen pull over, and they picked me up. And I'm sitting in the back seat, and they says, you know that this isn't a good neighborhood to be hitchhiking in, don't you? I said, yeah, but I'm just going up to 8 Mile and Gratiot, where my parents live. And the cop says, okay, we can give you a ride that far. So we're going down Gratiot, and the one cop says, isn't that where Detective Brown lives in that area? I said, oh, you know Detective Brown? And they said, yeah. I says, well, Detective Brown lives 2 houses away from me. So they says, oh, okay. So we're going down my street, and I says, slow down. I says, there's Detective Brown's car right there. And they shined the light on it, and he had the government plates on there. And they said, yeah, it's his car. So they dropped me off right at the door. and it normally took 13 hours to drive straight through from Maryland where I was at, and I made it in 13 and a half hours.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Although I think you got, not to correct your story, but I think you got it mixed up for when you had to go to New Mexico afterwards that's when they were testing for the Agent Orange, because that's when you got the free trip to them. Because
No, they were just doing an additional thing. That was after.
Okay.
That was after.
Because I remember that you had to go that, and they were testing about the Agent Orange.
Yeah, no, they were doing testing, additional testing.
His mother and I were really
It
upset
was
that
on
he
the
was.
same. It was on for the same thing.
Yeah, but when he was medical testing, we didn't. His mother and I didn't like that because you don't know what they're testing.
No, they weren't injecting anything. They were.
Well, you told us
drawing.
at the time, all they're doing is giving me coffee to see how long I stay awake and how long it is to take me to go to sleep. That's what you told us.
Oh, well,
He lied. Now I'm finding out all these years later.
yeah.
Liar, liar, pants on fire.
Right. So then, the next morning, my dad says, "How'd you get here?" I says, "Well, I hitchhiked." And he said, "Why'd you hitchhike?" I said, "Well, because I don't have any money." He says, "Well, how are you getting back?"
Silly man. Silly man.
I says, "Well, I'm hoping to fly."
Didn't you take the bus, though, I think?
No,
They didn't pay for the bus.
my parents give me money for a plane ticket.
Well, didn't you come
Which I could, at the time,
fly by standby?
I could fly military standby.
Honk your horn. She's looking for us.
I could fly military standby, and it only cost me $56 round trip.
Yeah, that was. Didn't you just go and lay on the couch when your dad got home from work and saw you
Yep.
there, and your mother didn't know you were home?
Yeah, I came in the house. They didn't even know I was home.
Oh, get the door unlocked. But anyway, here's Alyssa wandering the parking lot.
So, never mind. We're just gonna go to my house.
Oh, okay. Yes. Say hi, Alyssa.
Hi.
You're supposed to say hi, Alyssa.
Hi. Melissa. Right here.
I got a message today from Cindy, who is Diana Antu's daughter, telling me that Diana is in the hospital, flat on her back, and she's in need of prayers. And so Diana's been such a good friend to me for so long, and I've met her through YouTube, and I was kind of wondering where she had been because she hadn't been commenting on my videos, and I know she always comments on my videos, and now I know why. It's because she's in the hospital. So Diana, get better soon, and know that I'm praying for you, and please, everybody else, pray for Diana. I would so appreciate it. She's been like a godsend to me. She's like one of my good friends. So please say some prayers for Diana. And with that being said, say the prayers for everybody else that you think in your life that needs prayers, because prayers really do work. And with that being said, I'm going to ask you to tune in again tomorrow. I will let you know, keep you updates on Diana's condition. And thank you for your prayers for my sister Mary. She's plugging along. She's very weak, but she's very optimistic that she's going to get better soon. So thank you again for all your prayers, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.